have been active in the transfer market, Frankie,
Yes.
but more outgoings than incomings, certainly.
Yeah, a lot of outgoings. Ludwig Augustinsson has become the latest. He's now off to Real Mallorca. Jan Bednarek gone back to Southampton. Danny Ings off to West Ham for £15 million. Morgan Sanson, Frederick Gilbert, all out. And, quite a few of those featured in that Stevenage 1-0 loss. And
That's true.
after that game, you thought there would be repercussions for some of the players. And there's been repercussions, you would have to say. And, I think it's fair enough if Emery wants to clear out a squad of, and players who ultimately don't fit his vision. And yes, we don't have as big a squad now. And yes, injuries could cost us, a push for Europe potentially. But ultimately, I think getting to Europe this season is always going to be a tough ask, with what we have anyway. And so if Emery feels that these players are just not really worth his time, then that's absolutely fine in my view. And I think that
Are you surprised by the speed in which the outgoings have gone out?
A little bit, yeah. There's probably one or two I thought maybe would stick around, but at the same time, it does suggest that Unai Emery has a real clarity of vision of what he wants and a clear view of who suits his style, really. It's quite no nonsense, isn't it? Really. So no, I think for me, I think I'm not really worried at all. And I think, yeah, all right, the centre back and up front, if we get an injury, particularly to someone like Ollie Watkins and maybe a Mings and a Konsa, they could, it's going to be. We don't really have the squad to fix that, but at the same time, it also means we're probably going to see a bit more of players like Jhon Durán who's just come in, some youth players who might get a few opportunities they otherwise wouldn't have gotten, and one of them might, just do a bit of a Jacob Ramsey and really show that they're made of something in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So to me, if we're very close to the transfer deadline day now. If Villa don't sign anybody, I'd love it if we do. I'd look particularly like a Matteo Guendouzi, for instance. But if they don't, it's not the end of the world for me at all, really. And I'm happy enough if they wait until the summer to bring in the players that they absolutely want. But where do you sort of sit on the transfer window?
I completely agree with you, Frankie. I wish I wish I could cause some sort of debate on this show because it's always quite interesting. But yeah, I think if I was going to be slightly critical, I guess I suppose the speed in which they've cleared the decks it gives me a bit of concern. But then again, we're touch wood, we're pretty safe from relegation. And if these players were getting in the way of the development of any younger players that could come in to bolster the first team squad, then that's another a good thing, I suppose. We saw Louis Barry's also gone back out on loan to Salford today, so there are some players in the youth team that at the moment don't really feature in the first team plans, but you got Caden Young is playing a part in the first team now, and he could be an interesting prospect for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
If we get an opportunity to see any of the other sort of younger players feature, then that's fine by me. Could it impact on a charge for Europe? We're still in the mix in that picture, possibly, but if it doesn't happen, it's not like we weren't expecting it to happen this season. I think next season was something that we were targeting generally, and you don't want to rush into signing anybody for the sake of signing anybody. I mean, look at the transfer windows we've had in the past. Borja Baston, Danny Drinkwater, players like that coming in. I mean, why? They're just a burden on the wage bill, and they barely feature, and they just go straight back to their parent clubs when the loan comes to an end. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens on the final day, as you say, both again outgoings and incomings. I mean, there's strong rumours that Marvelous Nakamba will go out on loan to West Brom. Seems to be the most likely club. Some rumours, maybe even Felipe Coutinho could go out, which would be interesting. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, ultimately, we've both said on this program before, Emery is in the relatively few games he's been manager of the club, shown that he's he's a man who knows what he wants. He knows and he knows what he's doing. I have full faith in him as manager and the decisions he's making. And if he feels that now is the right time to get rid of the deadwood, so to speak, it's a horrible phrase, but if he's confident to do that, then who am I to sort of doubt him based on what he's done so far for us? So yeah, I've got no issues. There are some people on social media who seem to be just absolutely desperate for anybody to come in through the door, but I don't think we're at that stage where we need to panic. I mean, there's been some sort of funny memes and stuff online about people Emery having to call on season ticket holders to fill the subs bench.
Me and you'll be making an appearance.
Yeah. Podcasters called in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's scouting the London Lions as we speak. So yeah, but obviously we have got a good squad. We've often talked about, as I said, the academy and how strong we are in terms of our youth players. So yeah, why not? If we can supplement the first team squad with younger players, then I'm more than happy to let players like Gilbert go, because he was never going to feature anyway. Augustinson never really going to feature, especially now that we've signed Moreno. So yeah, no, I'm very satisfied with how things are, to be honest, Frankie.
And the thing to remember as well is that in January it's difficult to get the players you want for fairly reasonable fees, and the specific targets you want, they're often not available anyway in January. So I'm happy enough if Villa have cleared out some players, saved up quite a bit of money, maybe particularly off the Danny Ings sale, taking the money in, getting rid of the wages, and then this summer are then able to target players that are more readily available. May not be may not get quoted extortionate fees for them. So this summer is when I would think that Villa will be much more active. I'm very excited to see who Emery goes for. I really do believe he has a very clear idea of who and what he wants. I think Álex Moreno was a good signing, considering that he likes to play with two left backs on the left, and Moreno, from what I've seen of him, does look like a player who can play ahead of Dina on the left-hand side and function as something of a winger, whilst also being, a solid defender, so that defensively down that side, we're pretty set. And then Jhon Durán, he was in the Guardian's top 100 young players in the world. So ultimately, he's one of the highest-rated young players in the world, and one of the top young Colombian talents. He's
what a video, by the way. We haven't spoken about the Juan Pablo Angel motivational video.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Broadcast from the Holt End. Just what an introduction. I mean, that's great. That's great. And a sign of where we are as a club, I think. We seem to be a club that's just doing the right things at the moment, which we haven't said perhaps in the seasons gone by.
Yeah, and I do. Whoever did that Angel video deserves a raise for sure. But yeah, I can imagine this season that if the squad is light and we don't bring in any more players, that indeed there could be moments where we lack players and we go on. We have a bit of a patchy run, a couple of losses here and there, just because the squad's not deep enough. But like I say, it's probably worth looking ahead, really, and looking at the summer and thinking that's when Emery will be able to build the squad.
Frankie, we won the league in 81 with 18 players.
Oh, we did.